Hi there, I'm Natasha St. Michael and welcome to the Clear Skin Essentials. Today I'm going to share my story about how I cleared up adult acne. So I had acne since I was a teenager, and I would say as I was getting older, my skin was only getting worse. I would say in my early 30s, probably when I was about 30, 31, my skin was at its worst. It was kind of like the peak of terrible acne. And I'm now 39 years old. I'll be 40 very soon. And so at that time in my early 30s, I was at my wit's end because my skin was only getting worse. I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. And no matter what I tried, nothing was helping. And I tried taking many different pills and antibiotics and prescription lotions and all sorts of stuff, and nothing was working. And at that time, my mother had recommended I go and see a new dermatologist, someone that was quite popular, and she thought, you know, maybe this dermatologist can give me some insight, or perhaps let me try something new, or prescribe something to help me. And when I went to see the dermatologist, she actually recommended something very different than anyone's ever recommended to me. And she told me to stop putting anything on my skin. Her guideline was to go and find the most gentle cleanser I can find and just use that. And she warned me. She was like, you know, I don't want you to put any kind of cream on your face, no acne lotions, no exfoliants, no toners, no serums, no nothing. I just want you to wash your face twice a day with the gentlest cleanser you can find and just let your skin breathe. At that time, my skin was very irritated. I had dermatitis as well as having acne. I mostly suffered from cystic acne, so I had a tendency to get really large pimples on my face. I used to call them like goose eggs because they could be like this big. And they would take like 6 months at least to heal. And so I was scared. I was scared when she told me to stop using anything on my skin because I've been so used to relying on skincare products, and that's what we're always told. We're marketed to buy skincare products to heal our skin, and this was something very different. And she warned me. She was like, you know, you're going to feel uncomfortable. Your skin is probably going to feel tight. It might feel dry after you wash your face. That's normal. She's like, give your skin at least a week or two to balance out. But after that, your skin should start balancing out, and whenever you wash your face, you won't be having dry skin, none of that, but just be patient. And so I followed her advice. I was like, you know what, I have nothing to lose, my skin's terrible. And to my surprise and amazement, my skin started to heal. Now, I didn't get rid of the acne, but what happened was my skin tone started to balance out. So I was no longer getting that red inflammation and that irritation that comes with acne. You know, because there's nothing worse than having the pimples and then everywhere surrounding the pimples is all red, right? So it's really hard to cover it up with makeup. It's really hard to disguise it because it's just red and inflamed. And suddenly, by taking a break from all the skincare products, was that my skin tone went back to normal. And so even though I would have like these bumps and pimples, at least they weren't red and oozing and irritated and just like bright on my skin, but I was able, it looked like my skin was healing, you know, but I still had breakouts. And so I continued with not putting anything on my skin because it was looking a lot better and it was much more manageable. And I would also say too, is not using all that stuff on my skin really felt like it can breathe. I noticed a huge difference between what it was like wearing all the skincare products on my skin and not. And so I continued following her advice. And then I started also thinking about what else I can do. Because obviously going in the direction of the pills and prescription stuff, none of that stuff was working for me. And if someone's actually telling me to do the opposite and not be using anything, maybe I should be looking in other directions to find a solution to my skin. And so I started experimenting a lot with my diet because I'd known and I'd heard that there's many things I could change my diet to see if that can give me results. And so I started doing experiments, and at one point I started experimenting with a raw food diet. Up until that point, I'd been vegetarian for, say, about 20 years. And so I was already on like a plant-based diet. I was used to like already trying to eat healthy. And I decided to do an experiment doing a raw vegan diet to see if that can help. And to my amazement, within 2 weeks, my skin started healing even more. And so already just by not using skincare products, my skin was no longer inflamed. But by getting onto a healthy diet and doing the raw vegan diet was that I stopped getting breakouts. So whatever was on my face was starting to heal. And then after that, I wasn't breaking out even more. So I wasn't in that cycle, where your pimples are healing and then another one comes up, and you're always just kind of trying to heal something and prevent more from coming. Suddenly everything just stopped and started healing. And it took a few months for my skin to start healing and for the acne to completely go away. But it did go away. And I too, with the raw vegan diet, I decided, after doing it as an experiment for 2 weeks, I decided to stay on that diet because I was getting such great results with my skin. And I ended up staying on the raw vegan diet for 3.5 years. And then after 3.5 years, I started getting some deficiencies and some other issues that I decided to get off the raw vegan diet. And many people at that time had told me, Natasha, if you get off the raw diet, your acne is going to come back. Your skin's going to start breaking out again. Trust me, I know it. And I got really nervous. But at the same time, I was like, when I was on that raw vegan diet, there was foods on that raw vegan diet that I figured out were giving me breakouts. It's like over the years, I saw that certain foods I was eating was great for my skin and certain foods I was also eating was really bad for my skin. And it didn't matter whether it was healthy or not. And what I saw being on that raw vegan diet was that, these diets are great to keep people healthy, but when it comes down to acne, it's not so much about being on a particular diet as it is figuring out what those foods are that are working for your skin and not working for your skin. I'm also a health coach, and what I've seen with working with countless clients as well and helping them clear up their skin was that each person's different too. So there's not one diet that fits all, but for each person, it's about figuring out what are those foods that trigger breakouts? What are those foods that keep them at bay? Because when it comes down to adult acne, for a lot of us, is that it's not only about getting rid of it, but it's preventing it from coming back. And so after 3.5 years of being on the raw vegan diet, I got off the raw vegan diet and I introduced cooked foods back into my diet and also animal products. And everyone was telling me, oh, the acne is going to come back. And it didn't, because I knew what foods were causing the acne and which ones weren't. And I knew that on any diet I would try, whether it was a raw vegan diet or later I tried like paleo diet or caveman diet or macrobiotic diet, all these different diets, didn't matter what diet I was doing. I could be on all the healthy diets in the world, but there's certain foods, both healthy and unhealthy, I need to stay away from. And so all these years, I've been really able to fine-tune my own diet to prevent acne. I also know too that as much as we can do things with our diet and with our lifestyle and our skincare to keep acne at bay, there's certain times in a woman's life where we're more prone to breakouts than others. And that a lot of times has to do with hormonal shifts, like when we have our period or we're ovulating, or if we get pregnant, or from breastfeeding, or getting onto menopause and going through menopause, is that those are the times in women's life that they're prone to hormonal breakouts and acne. And so someone can go their whole life with having the clearest, most beautiful skin, but suddenly they get pregnant and suddenly they have acne. Or later on in life, they're hitting menopause and their skin breaks out. And this is just an unfortunate case for a lot of women out there, but there is solutions with that. And I've seen it with myself as well, is that I was able, through diet changes and lifestyle changes, to clear up my acne in my 30s. And then later on, in my later 30s, when I got pregnant, my skin was still great. But after giving birth, I started having hormonal breakouts again. And again, I was able to revisit my diet, my lifestyle, and make even more adjustments to clear up my skin again and to keep that acne at bay. So how I see it with adult acne is that it reminds me a lot of weight loss. Like someone that, let's say, is prone to gaining weight and they have a hard time losing weight. And they have to be very diligent on their weight loss diet, right? To stick with it, to lose the weight, but also to keep it off. And I would say it's the same thing with adult acne, is that you need to figure out what it is that's causing or contributing to your acne, and you've got to sort of create a lifestyle and a diet and a way of taking care of yourself to eliminate any of those contributing factors. And at the same time, you have to be diligent to stay on it so it doesn't come back. Because the moment you go back to what you were previously doing, it's going to come back. I've seen it with myself. I've seen it with countless clients I've worked with. But the beauty is that there are solutions, and it's about doing what I would say the detective work of figuring out what works for you and what doesn't. And here at the Clear Skin Essentials, I'm going to teach you what those things are that you can try and experiment with, and what you can modify and change, put in your diet, take out of your diet, to see how your skin responds and reacts, because we want to clear up your skin. So to end off, I do want to invite everyone to join my free mini course. I have a free email course. It's 5 steps that you can get started with of changes with your diet and with your skincare and lifestyle to start clearing up your skin. And if you follow these steps within this free mini course, this email course, you will start getting results within 2 weeks. Okay, you will start seeing your skin start to clear up and get healthier and better. And it will get you, sort of get the ball rolling to get you to that place where you can clear up your skin, most definitely. So if you want to join the free mini course, just go to my website at theclearSkinEssentials.com and you can join it there. Have a fabulous day, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.